Thank you so much. Now we'll start our questioning, and I'll begin with Director Jorgensen. And the prices that Dr. Mikuska is absolutely accurate. It's unbelievable, the prices that Europe was paying at the peak of things, but we didn't have the production at that time. And the spot markets were just out of control. We understand all of that. We're putting about 13 billion cubic feet a day into LNG. We have 6 more terminals coming online, so we should be up to in the 20 to 25 billion a day fairly soon, I'm understanding. And with that and other opportunities, I think Qatar is bringing more gas into the market. Are you all able, and Director Jorgensen, are you all looking at your longer-term contracts? Because I know the American producers are looking for a longer-term contract with the Europeans to make sure you don't have that spike as you had. And one final thing I want you to compare, everything that we're hearing about ESG, you've been hearing about that being kind of a governance. I'm concerned if you're only looking at ESG and you're not looking at the geopolitical risk and what you all have fallen into, but geopolitical risk, we never thought that Russia would do what they've done. But the havoc it's created in the economy and the suffering of the people, and also just almost throwing caution to the wind on environmental concerns when it's survival. And could that be prevented, or should that be taken into consideration with basically countries and companies making these decisions based on only on one parameter and not on both equally? And that's a lot in one question, but do the best you can.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator. So first of all, we have expanded our import capacity. I just want to mention it that there's significant additional capacity to import LNG as a response to the crisis. So we are able to offtake any additional supplies that will come online globally. Secondly, as you have said, long-term contracts are an important feature of the global natural gas market, and in particular of the global LNG market. It is a commercial decision for companies whether they want to sign long-term contracts, and I think one consideration there is the extreme volatility and uncertainty in global markets is certainly not helpful in that regard. We see an interest in long-term contracts to provide the security of supply, the stability in markets. We see with some concern that a number of US suppliers have signed long-term contracts with Chinese buyers, and so we're following that market very closely and looking at what can we do from European level, from the European Commission and member states to further support the development of long-term stable markets and offtake. One of the things we've done there, as I mentioned, is to establish an energy platform that will work on joint purchasing, and we're currently working both with suppliers but also with energy companies in Europe to see how do we best support developments there to get more stability into the market, and what is the role of long-term contracts in that context.
I noticed this morning's prices, you're about $17 a million BTU, and we're down about $250. But it's come down tremendously, and like I said, but it's still multiples. Where's your sweet spot? Where are you looking for as far as for your economy and also the stability for your economy?
I would not be able to put a specific price level on that, but I do think I think we have seen the worst in the volatility. Okay. Last year we had in Europe our gas prices at our domestic benchmarks were around 350, and they're now down close to 50. And so in other words, we are out of that very worst volatility, extremely high prices. We've done what we can to avoid it by the demand reduction, by the investment.
And you talk about the ESG versus basically geopolitical risk and what the geopolitical risk has cost. I'm understanding UK has kind of thrown caution to the wind completely, just trying to get through difficult times. Yeah.
So ESG remains an important factor to guide our taxonomy is an important element to guide investors to the extent they want to have a green profile or a green portfolio, green funds. And that is useful in itself. That does not mean that investments into security of supply are not relevant. It's an important selling point as well, if you will, from a sector perspective. The way we have looked at it in terms of our public financing, our European financing, is that we will be financing more into the energy transition, but financing into security of supply has been a high priority, not least this last year, which is why we have helped fund a number of the new infrastructures that have come online.
And I think the mild winter, the European mild winter basically helped tremendously, I think, with your supply chain and also your reserves. What are you all anticipating for next? Are you preparing for next winter, next year, 2023?
Yes.
or this year?
So this winter, we were indeed helped by somewhat milder weather, but it was not that unusually mild. It was milder, and that was a good thing in the current circumstances. But we were also helped by our measures on storage filling, on demand reduction, on price stabilization mechanisms, on solidarity mechanisms. And we were helped by the very close cooperation and support by allies, and in particular the United States, supplying significant amounts of LNG to the European Union over the last year. As we go into next winter, and my co-panelist referred to the International Energy Agency Ministerial yesterday, which indeed focused on energy security going into this next winter. It was an interesting discussion, and there's interesting analysis from the International Energy Agency, essentially confirming that in the scenario of things continuing where they are, we are actually ready for next winter. We have given ourselves the instruments we need. We have built the supply opportunities that we need. We've built the infrastructure that we need. So barring a very cold winter, barring shortages from suppliers, barring other accidents, exogenous factors, we would be ready for next winter, provided, of course, that we continue to reduce our demand and do the right thing across the European Union.
One final thing real quick before I turn to Senator Barrasso is when you talk about long-term contracts,
Yeah.
what time frame are you talking about? That means you're going to be needing this product, and you're willing to sign a contract for, is it 5, 10, 15, 20, or longer?
So as I mentioned, we see natural gas as being part of the energy transition in the European Union. So our forecast, our analysis of how to get to climate neutrality in 2050 includes a share of natural gas in our energy system all the way between now and 2050.
2050.
The duration of long-term contracts, again, is up to the commercial actors, but there is nothing in our system that would stand in the way of that.
That's very good. Thank you very much.